My name is Ron Liszak. I work for Women's Opportunity Resource and Development here in Missoula. And today I'm going to talk about how commercial media trivializes and encourages sexual violence. Our media system shows a lot of violence being committed against women. Much of this violence is shown simply to entertain viewers. The 6 corporations that control 85% of America's media produce many songs, video games, TV shows, and movies that make hurting women seem normal or fun. Take this ad, for example. See?
Introducing Nacho Cheesier Doritos Tortilla Chips. Loaded with even more nacho cheese, Doritos will never be the same again.
Ow.
In order to sell junk food snacks, Doritos first shows us a woman taking a slow, sexy walk while we hear a wolf whistle. After this, the woman is smacked in the head and knocked to the ground. Most people see this and laugh. I'd like to use this presentation to gain some insight into how corporate media mixes sexual messages with violent ones. Very often our commercial media shows things happening to women that are subtle but nonetheless abusive. Usually these types of abuse are shown to be funny, as in this next ad.
Why don't you get us something to cool this fire down?
I got just the thing. I got too low for that fire.
With a great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
That's not that bad.
When people first see this ad, they usually laugh. What is underneath the laughter, however, is kind of creepy. I want you to count how long the guy points the bottle at the woman after he opens it.
With a great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud.
He points the bottle at her for 3 or 4 seconds. If he cared about this woman at all, he had plenty of time to move it away. Instead, he just holds it there. This whole time, many of us are laughing. But even though this woman's humiliation is shown to be just a humorous accident, notice how this next commercial by the same company humiliates a woman even more while also endangering her with physical harm.
This is so romantic.
Well, it's about to get a little bit more romantic. A little candlelight
Oh.
and a little Bud Light. Do you smell barbecue? Oh,
Fresh, smooth, real Bud Light.
cool, a rocket sled.
It's all here.
Again, many of us laugh when we first see this ad. By now you should be noticing a pattern. When many of you see a woman get hurt, abused, or humiliated, you laugh about it. This kind of conditioning is what I'm trying to expose in this presentation. I'm not here to judge you for your attitudes, but I am here to ask you if you're okay with living a life where you find pleasure in watching women get hurt. You see, commercial media corporations want you to assume that hurting women is normal and fun. They've been able to successfully condition many of us to hold this attitude, and consequently have made a lot of money from selling sexual abuse. Remember at the end of this commercial, after the woman has had an animal fart on her and been burned from it, the other guy in the ad says, "Cool, a rocket sled." He's shown as approving that the woman has been hurt and abused, not as caring about her well-being or wanting to help in case she's injured. You may be thinking I'm making a big deal out of ads that are just funny. What worries me is laughing at women who are shown getting hurt by what's supposed to be accidents is only the beginning of how media corporations promote violence to women. Commercial media also produces many scenes of intentional violence toward women that is also depicted as being a fun thing to do.
Come on, man, do it.
Wait, an electric dog collar? I will never do that. No.
It really doesn't hurt.
We'll tell everyone you did it.
Oh, great. Ooh.
Life is best told over a great tasting Miller Lite at a place called Miller Time.
You sure it's off?
I promise you, it's don't you worry.
The guy in this ad knows how much the electric dog collar hurts to wear because he's already tried it. But then he goes to a party and decides it would be entertaining to hurt the woman he's talking to. The ad tells us doing this makes it Miller Time. In case you've noticed, this is the third beer ad we've seen that shows a woman being hurt. It's not an accident that the people who sell beer make these kinds of ads. Being drunk is often associated with being violent. Because beer companies know that the heavy drinkers they're selling their product to are likely to become violent when they're drunk, they try to make it seem like hurting a woman is a normal thing to do. They almost always use women or very effeminate men as the victims of the abuse shown in their commercials because they want the drunks that are buying their products to be able to feel powerful when they express the violence that alcohol brings out in them. That's why they pick on women in these ads. Most women are physically weaker than most men. If you don't believe the connection I'm making between alcohol and violence, I invite you to talk to a police officer. He or she will be able to tell you firsthand how drinking and violence are associated. Half the arrests in America are alcohol-related. Most murders in America are alcohol-related. Most cases of men beating women are alcohol-related. Most rapes, close to 80% in fact, that take place in America have been committed by a man who was drinking. But in addition to showing women being humiliated or abused, alcohol companies also produce ads that link sexuality with sports and violence. This is an alcohol ad that shows a lot of guys drinking while they get ready to watch football games. There's a lot of sexual content in the ad, but the images are very, very quick. This one lasts for less than a second. As I play the ad for you, I want you to notice if there's any connection between images of sexy women and people getting hit.
Two-hand touch, eating way too much, watching my team win with the Twins. I love quarterbacks eating dirt, pom-poms and short skirts, fans who won't quit, and those Twins. And I love them too. Here's the football.
Okay. Now I want you to watch what happens here. We're going to see three quarterbacks getting hit and thrown to the ground very fast. Notice what we see immediately after that.
Quarterbacks eating dirt, pom-poms and short skirts.
As soon as the last quarterback gets hit, the commercial cuts to a close-up of two of the cheerleaders' chests. Because the images in this ad are moving so fast, our minds don't have time to think about it, but the impression gets stored in our brains regardless. Violence and sex are made to seem like they go together. Let me show you something else here.
And those twins. And I.
This scene does exactly the same thing, although the order is reversed. First, the women are shown acting sexy, then we see a mascot getting kicked in the head. Media corporations have been successful linking sports violence with sex. They've begun to produce entire programs devoted to women getting hurt. You've probably seen or heard of women's wrestling programs. Here's an example that's even more extreme. During halftime at a recent Super Bowl, cable TV subscribers were able to watch a pay-per-view program called the Lingerie Bowl. Anybody who's seen football knows it's a violent sport. The players are protected with thick helmets and heavy padding. But not in the Lingerie Bowl. It featured women playing football dressed in sexy underclothes. The whole program was designed so that viewers could watch sexy women play a violent game and potentially hurt themselves. Here are a few publicity photos the Lingerie Bowl producers released. As you can see from how these women are dressed, the emphasis on this program was not on athletes' ability to compete at sports. The emphasis is on the potential violence that could befall sexy women. Now, some alcohol companies don't think that it's entertaining enough to show sexy women that might get hurt. They want to be sure their customers are entertained with guaranteed violence committed upon sexy women. Here's an ad where Coors hosts events that men can drink beer at while they watch topless women punch each other's breasts. Some media corporations also use action programs as ways of showing violence being perpetrated upon women. But since most people are disgusted by showing programs containing these kinds of images, TV networks have begun to make programs where the hero is a woman. Because she wins in the end, these programs can get away with showing numerous scenes of the hero getting beaten and tortured during the program. But as this commercial makes clear, the real focus of these types of programs is to show sexy women in revealing scenes that are interspersed with violent action. Producers of violent programming showing women as the heroes justify their shows by saying that they are empowering women. They make this claim since the women in the programs overcome the enemies and supposedly mete out justice to the bad men they encounter. This argument is true as far as it goes. But if you stop to consider the power these programs offer to women, you can see that it's very limited. Programs like these tell women that you can be violent like the men we show hurting you. They don't tell women that violence is unnecessary and can be avoided. And they don't offer women a way to be powerful, successful, or even sexually attractive unless they resort to and are the victims of violence. This next scene from Kill Bill makes it clear that even though the hero is powerful enough to be more violent than her opponent, she's still put on display for viewers to see a beautiful woman or beautiful women beating each other. Movies like this are filmed in the style of video games. We can see in this next commercial how the style can be made to look almost ridiculous, and when it is, it's easy to forget that we're witnessing violence. But as you watch this next ad, you'll see how the whole point is to display beautiful women in sexy clothes fighting.
You want to see how powerful Sunkiss really is? Watch this. Oh, girls! Sunkiss, experience the charge.
Because this ad is done in such a comic style, it's easy to forget that many viewers have been trained to enjoy violence committed upon women. We shouldn't dismiss what's going on simply because we're shown images where the person committing the violence is a woman also. Advertisers who produce ads like these are hoping that viewers are so used to seeing violence that they'll forget these are companies owned by heartless men who sell products by showing images of violence being committed upon women. You can see how this works by watching this next ad. Towards the end of it, you'll notice who's shown as watching enjoying the violence and who's shown as being stunned by it.
Doesn't Miller Lite taste great?
Yeah, but I drink it because it's less filling.
Great taste.
Less filling! Great taste! Less filling! Great taste! Less filling!
Oh, man, now that would make a great commercial. Who wouldn't want to watch that?
Life is best told over a great tasting Miller Lite at a place called Miller Time.
Less filling!
Notice how the sexual and violent images are mixed together in this commercial. First, we see two women with large breasts that are exposed because their tops are mostly unbuttoned. They start to argue and the table gets flipped over. This is followed by a punch in the face, and then a woman is being flipped into the fountain. Now that the women are fighting in full-blown fight, what's the most important thing that must happen to make the fight as sexual as possible? Well, they have to rip each other's shirts off, of course. After their shirts are ripped off, we see their breasts followed by a woman getting kicked in the face. Then we get a quick flash of a butt, then a close-up of one woman's face and the other woman's breasts. Then we see two guys saying, "Who wouldn't want to watch this?" Let's think for a moment. Who wouldn't want to watch that? I'm going to read you some facts about teen dating and sexual violence. As I read through it, ask yourself if the girls getting hurt by their boyfriends would want to watch programs like this. Data from a study of 8th and 9th grade students showed 25% had been victims of non-sexual dating violence and 8% had been victims of sexual dating violence. Nationwide, 9% of students reported being hit, slapped, or physically hurt on purpose by their boyfriend or girlfriend in the 12 months prior to being surveyed. Women ages 16 to 24 experienced the highest per capita rates of intimate violence, nearly 20 per 1,000 women. About 1 in 3 high school students have been or will be involved in an abusive relationship. 40% of teenage girls ages 14 to 17 say they know someone their age who has been hit or beaten by a boyfriend. In one study, from 30 to 50% of female high school students reported having already experienced teen dating violence. Teen dating violence most often takes place in the home of one of the partners. In 1995, 7% of all murder victims were young women who were killed by their boyfriends. 1 in 5, that's 20% of dating couples report some type of violence in their relationship. One survey of 500 young women ages 15 to 24 found that 60% were currently involved in an ongoing abusive relationship, and all participants had experienced violence in a dating relationship. One study found that 38% of date rape victims were young women from 14 to 17 years of age. A survey of adolescent and college students revealed that date rape accounted for 67% of sexual assaults. More than half of young women who were raped, that's 68%, knew their rapist either as a boyfriend, friend, or casual acquaintance. And 6 out of 10 rapes of young women occur in their own home or a friend or relative's home, not in a dark alley. These facts make it pretty clear that most of the sexual violence teenage girls suffer is committed by people they know, usually their friends and boyfriends, and it usually happens in their homes or their friends' homes. We're not talking about evil terrorists from another country who want to hurt us. We're talking about our own friends and our own community. This is why I'm so concerned about media that shows violence toward women as entertaining or normal. I don't want 6 giant media corporations to decide that they can make a lot of money by training guys to hurt their girlfriends as part of their relationships. But media corporations clearly want this to take place. Remember that Miller ad I showed you with the 2 women fighting? Well, there was a special version of it that ran only very late at night. Here's how it ended.
Let's make out.
The message here is very clear. Commercial media producers want you to believe that women are turned on by being beaten. And it's not just beer companies that are sending the message that women are aroused by and enjoy beatings and humiliation. Look at these images from fashion magazines. This designer dress is being modeled by a woman with a bloody eye and blood dripping from her hand. This clothing company used a model crawling on all fours and drinking from the ground like an animal. And this ad for shoes puts this model in a cage like a bird. And this next ad shows a woman being terrorized by a vicious animal in order to sell pants. What's really sick about this ad is how it ends. After the guy sicks his dog on this woman to get her pants off, she goes back to him and smiles about what happened. Once again, the message is being sent that abuse is a normal part of a happy relationship. This last ad I'm going to show raises the abuse bar 1 step higher. It gives a step-by-step lesson on how to stalk a woman.
The world is spinning round and round. It's got me up. It's got me down. I'm not sitting around. I'm not waiting. I'm not sitting.
This ad shows a guy who sees a woman he's attracted to waiting for her luggage. Rather than talk to her, he throws a piece of luggage away and then follows her to the bar to drink with her. The ad tells us that this is a nice finish. It's not made clear if he's throwing her luggage away to trap her there or throwing his luggage away so that he can trick her. I'm sure many of you thought he was throwing her luggage away, and I'm equally sure many of you thought he was throwing his own luggage away. Sometimes commercial media sends messages that are purposely vague. They want different people to read different things into what they see. The best thing you can say about this ad is that the guy is a weenie. If he's throwing his luggage away, then he's too cowardly to speak with this woman and is hoping to trick her into liking him. If he cared about the woman in the least bit, he could have offered to help her out. The worst thing you can say about this ad is that it's a lesson in how to stalk a woman. It demonstrates how to keep a woman trapped in a place so that she'll have to be around you. The truth about this ad is that beer companies probably want some people to see this ad one way and some to see it another. For drunks who are violent, this is a nice how-to lesson in stalking. For drunks who are shy and afraid around women, it offers how that even cowards can get dates with nice-looking women. And once again, the ad has a sick ending. By showing the woman being happy that she can drink with a guy who's either a weenie tricking her or a stalker. I'm hoping that you'll think about relationships in a different way now that you've seen how media corporations try to train people to act violently toward women and enjoy watching violence being committed against women. I'm hoping you'll understand this is just a creation of media corporations who make money selling products associated with a violent lifestyle. It's not the lifestyle you have to live. Remember, you have choices and you have power, and you don't have to be violent or allow someone to be violent toward you.